Something that comes to mind when you just were talking about that was the hero's journey. So Jordan Peterson talks a lot about the hero's journey for men, right? Which is basically slaying your own personal dragons, gaining wisdom from that, and then bringing that wisdom back to share with the villagers or other people,
Hmm.
helping other people at that point. What would you say would be the feminine hero story, if there is one?
Well, so that's a big place where I disagree with Jordan. Now he's a colleague that I just plain disagree with. That I think he's mischaracterized culture by insisting on it being primarily masculine, and I recognize that, and I did a post on this as well. I think that's the why feminism is cancer. And Milo shared that one too, because I have this argument that both Milo and Peterson have talked about, the patriarchy as the primary agent. And I said, okay, there is, and I think you're right. You were right when you said that women are describing as patriarchy, in fact, that competitive marketplace, right? But culture is also feminine. Culture is your mother tongue. Culture is the alma mater, the nourishing mother of the liberal arts. Culture is the muses. Culture is the arts, right? And if you think about I think Peterson in his focusing on the structuring of culture as the patriarchy and the wise father has missed out completely the degree to which culture is also the inspirational and the artistic and the creative, that nourishing that comes from places that you have to be receptive to, that you don't always know where it comes from. And when you talk about creativity and people say, it's like, where do you get those ideas? That's also a part of culture. And so indeed you need both, right? You need the agent of the artist, but you need the muse who somehow is also agent. Where did those ideas come from? That is where we as women come from. I'd say, I'm modeling a certain kind of inspiration and approach to writing for my students when they come to me and they say, I've got writer's block. And I'm like, aha, let me tell you. My version of clean your room is get your timer and, sit and let yourself go into that place where the ideas come from. And I think women can be guides, right? That's why wisdom, right? Mary is wisdom. She's the guide to the thing that you're going to find. And so it's not just the hero goes out and slays the dragon. He also has to listen, and learning to listen to those hints, to the spirit, to wisdom, to the muses. Women inspire men to make beautiful art. I think that's an important role that we have that we for some reason decided is demeaning to us. Men love making things for women, and women say I'd like a house, and men go build one. So I think again the interaction is very important, and focusing solely on the hero's role of slaying the dragon means that you don't even understand why he's going to slay the dragon in the first place.
So to maybe kind of paraphrase that in a way, are you kind of saying that the feminine hero's journey would maybe be a striving to be that muse-like figure?
I don't think you strive to be the muse. I think that's making it a masculine character then again. I think you, in order to be a writer myself, and that's, it's an active process. I've also had to learn how to, as a historian, surrender to my sources, let them speak back to me, let them teach me things that I didn't know. And I'd say in my interactions with my students, that's what I'm trying to model for them. Mary ends up as a character that's very largely a model that, you need to imitate Mary in order to access the wisdom of God. And yes, it's odd to describe it, right? Because your agency wants to come out and say, how do you be this, right? And I think it's what for me it's been is as fencing bear, modeling what I've learned through fencing, or as a writer, modeling what I've learned through as a writer. One of my favorite authors who I write about in my book is Sister Mary of Agreda, and she talks about the Virgin Mary as a mirror. that you look in and learn from. Yeah, it's funny because I'm trying to answer your question. It's like, well, no, because every time I try to turn it into an agency problem, it feels wrong. So I think it's men certainly need to tap into this, because I think otherwise you end up feeling homeless. And I see that in some of the ways that some of Peterson's advice plays out, particularly in his 12 rules, that there's a homelessness to it. There's the, you're going to go out there and be an agent and be a great warrior, but you have no place to come home to. And I'm going to have to meditate on that some more. But I think the challenge is to understand that as a kind of being, but that's also a process.
I think maybe the dichotomy that I'm maybe touching on right now is between being and becoming. So like you just said, like you pointed out, I try to make it into a becoming problem, to where it's like, well, how does one go about doing that? But maybe it's not a question of doing. Like the feminine isn't necessarily about doing, it's more that being, just being in a state, embracing where you're already at type of thing.
I think, yes, this is what's interesting. It's like, and I think this is, you're helping me, that one of the ways in which we just failed to talk through what real gender differences mean and what the real sort of masculine and feminine mean is, it feels like it should fall into dichotomies of action and passivity, but I don't think it does. I don't think the feminine is necessarily passive. I think there's an activity in being willing to inspire. No, it's very interesting, because I say language is the language. How do you talk about the language of being able to speak without making it an agent? And how do you talk about what it was like to inspire without it turning into, both were mutually inspiring or something? I just don't, I think you've hit on the problem that we have for being able to articulate this.